decay is still unproven, and so this chapter of the future could look very different in light of new discoveries. Yeah, well, one would think that at the 91 trillion years from now mark, yeah, we're guessing. I think this will be interesting. This is probably a bit low for you guys, actually. Doubling our speed every 5 seconds. Alright. The universe has only just begun. Oh, so, okay, so we start by 2019. So, at the time this video was released, I'm guessing.
The Holocene has ended. What we do now and in the next few years will profoundly affect the next few thousand years. The only conditions modern humans have ever known so far are changing, and changing fast.
Nothing stays the same on this planet. Everything changes. The Earth is going into one of these jumps, and you don't know what is going to be on the other side of those jumps. The Earth is always jumping.
$4,936. All right. Comet Halley-Bopp.
Things move on this planet. Things are not still. Everything is turning.
Just to make sure. Yeah, I am watching this in normal speed.
As it begins to run out of fuel, the sun won't simply fade away to nothing. Its core will collapse, and the extra heat this generates will cause its outer layers to expand.
We have only just begun this journey, and our sun is about to die.
The sun is now dead. It remains slowly cooling in the freezing temperatures of deep space.
Now we're moving billions of years a second.
The fate of the sun is the same as for all stars. One day, they must all eventually die, and the cosmos will be plunged into eternal night.
All stars eventually run out of fuel, the temperature of the universe drops, the stars, one by one, in the night sky, will turn off. And there'll be no more new stars created. And so that the universe will end not with a bang, but with a whimper. And not in fire, but in ice.
In the future, the degenerate era. All right.
With no fuel left to burn, a white dwarf's faint glow comes from the last residual heat from its extinguished furnace. Looking at it from where the Earth is now, it would only generate the same amount of light as the full moon on a clear night. The faint glow of white dwarfs will provide the only illumination in a dark and empty void littered with dead stars and black holes.
In some ways, it's kind of a ghost universe. It's the corpses, the zombie stars, that will take us into the future.
Yeah. Question is though, like, at some point, if time's infinite, and we don't know that, but let's say time is infinite, at some point the thing would have to collapse in on itself. And thereby starting the process over again, I guess? 1 trillion years. Oh, see? That would generate heat. And then things would probably start cackling. Any surviving life forms may find refuge around aging white dwarfs, but at this point there would probably not be life like if every star in the universe were dead, then that would imply that any other life form in the universe would be dead as well. We're gonna get to a trillion years in the future. We have only just started, are you kidding me? We're not even third of the way through this thing.
A black dwarf will be the final fate of those last stars. White dwarfs that have become so cold that they barely emit any more heat or light. Black dwarfs are dark, dense, decaying balls of degenerate matter, little more than the ashes of stars. Their constituent atoms are so severely...
Are there any black dwarfs around already?
crushed.
No, okay. Less than 14 billion years old, the universe is still too young to have created any black dwarfs. So they're technically just theoretical at this point.
Black dwarfs are 1,000,000 times denser than our sun. Stars take so long to reach this point, we believe there are currently no black dwarfs in the universe.
Okay. When you haven't seen the video before, you might end up fact-checking it before the facts are even thrown out into the video. Well, that happens. To escape its galaxy is sucked into a supermassive black hole at the center. 20,000 trillion years. All right. That's cool. So, I just want to talk very briefly about eternal life after death, that religious concept. This is why that would be torment, because at this point, 5 million trillion years into the future, if you would have eternal life after death, that would mean that you wouldn't even have gotten 1% in, because you would never get even 1% in to the journey at this point. At some point you would just grow tired of all of it, I think.
We have a pace of life that's based on really the energy available to us now. You could imagine living conscious systems which have a very different pace and therefore can extend out at least a lot farther than you'd imagine otherwise. You could have a living system where if it had a thought every 10 trillion years, that would seem normal. Even if our life dies out, one could imagine at some time arbitrarily far in the future, a fluctuation occurs which allows intelligent life to exist again for a little while. So you might have islands in time of intelligence.
Okay, so the issue here with the time lapse is that from this point to this point, we have already moved farther along the line than from here to like we have now moved like as far in that 1 second as we have done all the way up until that point. So, you know, if at any point there is life here, it would be snuffed out by 1 second on this timeline at this point. Not even 1 second.
So you might have islands in time of intelligence.
As the expansion of the universe accelerates, it begins to spread matter apart faster than the speed of light. I guess that would... By this point, distant galaxies and stars are receding so fast that their light has become undetectable. that atoms themselves will begin to decay, destroying all remaining matter in the universe. And you get a certain sadness of looking at a video portraying the death of the universe, and yet still none of us will be around to witness this.
A proton, one of the fundamental building blocks of atomic matter, of what makes us up, can just spontaneously fall apart.
Any material that evades the pull of a black hole eventually dies away as its protons disintegrate.
Proton decay is still unproven, and so this chapter of the future could look very different in light of new discoveries. Yeah, well, one would think that at the 91 trillion years from now mark, yeah, we're guessing.
The matter inside black dwarfs, the last matter in the universe, will eventually evaporate away and be carried off into the void as radiation, leaving absolutely nothing behind.
Alright, but at that point, what's all of this? I'm getting anxious.
With the black dwarfs gone, there won't be a single atom of matter left. All that will remain of our once rich cosmos will be particles of light and black holes.
The black hole era. Proposing stars and lingering stars. Time has only just begun to tick. Jesus Christ. Oh, okay, so cold, dark, and empty. This is how the cosmos will spend most of its life. So, most of its life, the cosmos will be dead. It gives life only a brief moment to shine, a haven in time, safe from its fiery birth and icy death.
The arrow of time creates a bright window in the universe's adolescence, during which life is possible. But it's a window that doesn't stay open for long. As a fraction of the lifespan of the universe, as measured from its beginning to the evaporation of the last black hole, life, as we know it, is only possible for 1,000th of a billion billionth of a percent.
Cool.
Black holes become the fundamental building block of the universe. A galaxy will basically be a supermassive black hole in a center with smaller black holes orbiting it.
Zombie galaxies filled with black holes continue to evolve.
They'll eat each other and they'll get bigger, and maybe they'll fall into the supermassive black hole and it'll get bigger. The universe will still be an exciting, dynamic place. It's just that the timescales you're talking about are now trillions of years instead of thousands or millions of years.
this far-flung age, black hole mergers become the main event. Some grow to enormous sizes, possibly trillions of times the mass of our sun. Yeah, well, at this point, our sun will have been gone for trillions of years. When they merge, they send out powerful gravity waves that resonate throughout the universe.
Black holes can bang on space-time like mallets on a drum. And they have a very characteristic song. Imagine two black holes that have lived a long life together. At the end of their lives, they're going around each other, crossing thousands of kilometers in a fraction of a second. As they do so, they leave behind in their wake a ringing of space, an actual wave on space-time.
That at one point, one of these black holes will become big enough that it actually consumes everything.
Space squeezes and stretches as it emanates out from these black holes banging on the universe. Those are the gravitational waves. They are literally the sounds of space ringing. And they will travel out from these black holes at the speed of light as they ring down and coalesce to one spinning, quiet black hole. If you were standing near enough, your ear would resonate with the squeezing and stretching of space. You would literally hear the sound. Imagine a lighter black hole falling into a very heavy black hole. The sound you're hearing is a light black hole banging on space each time it gets close. As it falls in, it gets faster and it gets louder.
Scientists used to think black holes were immortal, but even these will one day die.
Now we're talking about timescales of unimaginable length, quadrillions of years into the future. On that timescale, even the black holes begin to evaporate.
Wait, but what is left behind when a black hole dies? I have so many questions.
According to quantum mechanics, space is filled with virtual particles, antiparticles, that are constantly materializing in pairs, separating, coming together again, and annihilating each other. In the presence of a black hole, one member of a pair of virtual particles may fall into the hole, leaving the other member without a partner with which to annihilate. The forsaken particle appears to be radiation emitted by the black hole. And so, black holes are not eternal. They evaporate away at an increasing rate until they vanish in a gigantic explosion. quantum mechanics has allowed particles and radiation to escape from the ultimate prison, a black hole.
Black holes begin to evaporate away, erasing the last large-scale structures in the universe. The universe continues to expand, driven by mysterious force we don't yet understand. Is this dark matter? Or dark energy? This is the frontier of human knowledge, a frontier ripe for exploration and discovery.
Philosophers and poets have asked the question, will the world end in fire or ice? We can now give an answer. The latest evidence
Is this Lawrence Krauss?
shows that the universe is not slowing down, but it's speeding up out of control. And the universe, we think, will die in ice. Trillions upon trillions of years from now.
Empty space itself has energy. In every little cubic centimeter of space, whether or not there's stuff, whether or not there's particles, matter, radiation, or whatever, there is still energy, even in the space itself. And this energy, according to Einstein, exerts a push on the universe.
What is the weird stuff that's accelerating the universe? We call it dark energy. And this stuff is the dominant stuff of the universe. Almost 3/4 of the matter-energy content of the universe is this dark energy. And we don't know what it is.
Dark energy, unlike matter or radiation, does not dilute away as the universe expands. This has crucial implications for what the universe is going to do in the future.
So what will be the future of the universe? Well, if the dark energy remains dominant and repulsive, the universe will expand forever. Faster and faster and faster with time. A runaway universe.
70% of the energy of the universe resides in empty space, and we don't understand why. But we do know what will happen. If that energy continues to be there, the universe will become cold and dark and empty. That's the future as it might be. We don't know because we don't yet understand the nature of dark energy. Until we do, we won't know the future. We won't even understand our own origins, and that's why we want to know and study this subject.
Discovering the true nature of dark energy could change our vision of the future dramatically. Yeah, and we are still not done. 1 billion trillion years in the future. If it somehow weakens over time, the universe could collapse under gravity, a big crunch. And I think that was the old the old idea of like what would happen also, but then, you know, dark energy wasn't taken into account with that. I seem to remember to having read that at some point. Either a big crunch or a big rip is what it's gonna be, no matter what. Physicists increasingly suspect that there may be multiple universes beyond our own, each with their own unique laws of physics. However, that is just an hypothesis, and we can't believe it until we actually see convincing evidence for it, which we are incapable of. Some would harbor the right conditions for life, others would collapse. Could be far more exotic than anything we could imagine. I mean, I think our universe would be far more exotic than anything we could imagine, but yeah, other universes with other laws of physics, like, yeah, that would be on a completely different level. Hello?
Forecast does seem to be for an ever colder, ever emptier universe. But then, of course, we have to ask, could that end lead to a new beginning? And there are ideas whereby what actually is the end of our universe could in some sense be linked to the beginning of a new one.
Create simulated virtual universes, or with enough energy create another one just
We've worked out the mathematics, the equations. They seem to say that if you have an atom smasher that can concentrate tremendous amounts of energy at a single point, you can perhaps open up a gateway, a baby universe. Facing the death of everything there is, this perhaps is their only possibility of escape. And this also raises a very intriguing possibility, sheer speculation of course, that perhaps any universe that has intelligent life in it will create baby universes, will create lifeboats, and proliferate child universes. So an evolution may take among universes in the multiverse. Survival of the fittest may take place. So those universes which do not have intelligent life are infertile. They have no children. But those universes that have mild temperatures, stars like us, would create civilizations that could open up child universes, and they would then proliferate.
after an unimaginable length of time, even the black holes will have evaporated, and the universe will be nothing but a sea of photons gradually tending towards the same temperature as the expansion of the universe cools them towards absolute zero. Once the very last remnants of the very last stars have finally decayed away to nothing, and everything reaches the same temperature, the story of the universe finally comes to an end. For the first time in its life, the universe will be permanent and unchanging. Entropy finally stops increasing because the cosmos cannot get any more disordered. Nothing happens, and it keeps not happening forever.
Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence, and I learn whatever state I may be in, therein to be content. Helen Keller. Well, luckily for us, this is a very long time into the future. And like I said, none of us will be around to witness most of that.